All right, good evening. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission for the Village of Vernon Hills, and we will start with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Cotton.
Here.
Commissioner Fluno.
Here.
Commissioner Heidner.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Nabbitt.
Here.
And Chairman Morris.
Here.
Commissioner Smith gave prior notice that he was going to be out this evening.
Right.
We have a quorum of 6.
Okay, before we begin, we want to welcome our newest member, Mr. Will Hendrick, to the commission, way to my right, who's joining us for his first meeting, having been just appointed and sworn in by the mayor within the last very short period of time. Okay, we will start after that with any general public comments. If not, we have 4 items on our agenda this evening for review, the first being a public hearing for case 2026-04, a petition filed by AGSI Carpentry and Restoration requesting variations from the requirements of the zoning code related to the allowable floor area ratio for the property commonly known as 31 Montauk Lane. Who's going to speak on behalf of the petition? Okay, do you need to step up, please?
Okay. Should we all come up?
Yep. Anyone who's going to speak should step up.
Okay.
Just the 3 of you?
Yeah.
Okay. We'd ask that you first tell us who you are, so
Okay.
give us your names.
So I'm Aga Lukawiecka. I am a part owner of AGSI Carpentry, and that's my husband, the other owner. And then I'm also the daughter of the owner of 31 Montauk Lane. This is
I'm Barbara Kirpa.
the owner.
Yeah.
I'm Daria Mangas, architect.
Okay, so we'd ask you to raise your right hand and swear or affirm that this testimony you're about to give before this commission of the Village of Vernon Hills shall be the truth.
I swear.
I swear.
Okay, the primary rule is you need to either speak from the microphones at the table in front of you, or should you need to consult the screen because the big one is not working, use one of the handheld microphones. And with that, you are on, please. So,
Okay. Would you like me to just tell you why we're doing this?
yes.
Okay. Okay. So basically, my parents are very generous, and they will be gifting us the house once they retire in the next year to year and a half. Me and my husband have 2 little boys. We currently live in like a townhome with 3 bedrooms, and my mother-in-law lives with us as well. So we obviously need more space. My parents will be retiring and will be going between Poland and here, as my brother lives in Poland with his kids, and we have a lot of family there. So they'll be spending probably around 4 months here with us, and then the rest in Poland. So that's why we need the space to expand, as we need more bedrooms. I know that there is like a play area space also planned there. So this house does not have a basement. So that's why we want that play area. So as our boys grow up, they can bring their friends there, and they don't have to be, shoved into their rooms or anything like that. So they have more space for that. Currently, the house only has 1 full bathroom and a half bathroom downstairs. So with more people living there, even if it's, like us and my mother-in-law, for most of the year, we still need a second bathroom. So we that's why we're adding that there. And the plan is to have a laundry room upstairs because it's just more convenient to have the laundry room closer to the bathrooms, or to the bedrooms. So that's why we are doing this.
Okay, and you're asking to have the preliminary floor ratio to be 0.37 versus 0.33, which is the maximum in the code, is that right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
I think just speaking about the addition architecturally, we found that it will be the least disturbing to add directly above the garage, both structurally, and that way we don't have to disturb any of the additional ground if they were to add in the back. And I think that was the most conducive and economical and efficient and a way to make this addition work.
Okay. Any questions? Anyone from the commission?
It was posted, were there any comments from neighbors?
We did. I can. Sorry. Yes, we did post it both in the newspaper and with a sign at the house and through the letters directly to them. I can get into that when we get to the public comment because I think there are some people here who do wish to speak.
Okay. Anyone else on the commission?
I have a question about the architecture.
Okay?
Why is the roof of the proposed addition so much higher than the roof of the existing house?
So because there is no basement, we have tried to make it the most efficient with still sticking to the code requirements for height to provide some storage in the attic. And I think that's the main reason, just to get a little bit more height for storage.
So,
Because right now we have storage on top of garage, you know, and when they build, they don't have any storage.
I know that a lot of the existing homes, the four-bedroom Arlington 2, for example, has, a room above the garage. However, it is the same roof line. And I think that it would blend in better with the neighborhood. And I think that's important. I don't object to an addition at all. I think, it would be a good thing for your family. However, I do object to that additional height, knowing that it's not going to look like the other homes.
Okay.
I also wanted to add that height of the roof is towards the back of the house, so when you perceive it from the street, it won't look as dramatic as you may perceive it from this drawing. And again, we are sticking to the code requirement for the height of the houses in this neighborhood. And typically now, when building new construction, although I know this is not a new construction, the ceiling heights are a little bit higher than they are in the older constructed homes, so that's kind of what we're sticking with.
I don't know if you can see it, but
Oh,
the display, you're talking about the right side of the right drawing being the front and the height being the left side of the right drawing.
Yes, and so if you see that kind of point of the roof, that matches, that is in line with the point of the adjacent roof in plan. I don't think that we have the roof plan on here, but it kind of carries that ridge line all the way across. That's why that's more towards the back.
Just based on what I'm seeing from the drawing, it looks like it's substantially higher.
Height-wise, yes, but I was just talking about in plan, when you look, the ridge line is in the same plane from front to back. That's why the offset of the ridge.
Anybody else?
So it sounded like you considered other alternatives. You said in the back, for example, but you didn't think it was economically feasible.
Correct. We would have to dig foundations, disturb existing conditions of the soil. Whereas here, we're basically using the existing foundations, which we checked are appropriate depth, to build on top of. And this is the most economical way to do so. And in addition to that, the way the existing home is laid out, it almost asks for that addition to be on the left of the garage with the way the stairs is and everything else.
Okay.
Are there other, existing models, homes in the neighborhood that have done this?
Yes, so we have not, what was the?
I have one for sure, because I've asked for I did the Freedom of Information Act with the village. So 27 Manchester Lane did the second floor addition, which added 2 bedrooms, 1 sitting area, 2 full baths, and a second laundry room. And that was done in 2018.
And there are also other
And they did
homes-
that above the garage as well.
Yeah,
But is the roof height the same across that entire home as, yeah?
I believe that the roof line is higher. I don't remember if the roof is facing the same direction as the roof of the current home. I think, see how on our drawings, we kind of have the A-frame? I think their addition is only that A-frame, and it doesn't have an extension of the roof.
Not that easily.
And we have also looked, I think we were more prepared to show the homes that have a higher FAR, so we did prepare an exhibit that shows just in the vicinity, and there's multiple homes that do have that.
Just one quick note from the staff report on that point. When the petitioners presented this exhibit, I did look through our records and the county records to try to determine why there were so many homes that exceeded the FAR already. And I'm not 100% sure, but based on the construction date of the houses in this neighborhood, they appear to predate the FAR requirement in the code. So the FAR requirement is about middle of 1982, and many of the homes here were built before that. That is my best guess as to why certain models exceed the FAR even before any additions were done.
So we tried to pull some records. It was just hard to get an exact answer on the FOIAs. So the only one that we could get kind of an idea for was the one that Aga was talking about at, I
Yeah, 'cause
forget
when
the
I
address.
asked for like square footage, current square footage of these homes that we were looking into, I was told that Village doesn't store that information, so we were told to look on that like Lake County
That-
website, map, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. So on the Lake County website, the property cards will tell you what year they're built.
Yeah, so I think that's where,
Can you give me that address again on Manchester?
oh, yes, 27 Manchester Lane.
Okay, thank you.
And
Another one.
concerning what you said about the homes existing prior to the ordinance on the FAR, if one of those houses were to burn down, would they be able to reconstruct it?
The short answer is no. So it is something that we need, now that we know this, we do need to figure out how to address the status. But this is new information, just found it out dealing with this particular variance request.
But if
So
have
they
a-
could rebuild, but they'd need a variance.
We would most likely be a probably pretty, I would say, relatively easy variance to get, but we may be able to come up with some other mechanism in the code to address it.
But if they built with a variance such as this request, they could rebuild.
They could
to their
rebuild.
variance.
Correct. Right.
Jerry?
So I just pulled up 27 Manchester, and it looks like two separate structures or two separate roofs. You can pass this, or let me start here, and then you can pass it.
Yeah.
27 Manchester.
Right, anything else from your standpoint?
No?
Okay, anything from the commission? Okay, let me note that we do have section 21.5 responses to the standards for variation that are part of the staff report that are made part of this record. If you have nothing else to add at this point, what we would do at this juncture is, this is a public hearing, open this up for any sort of public comment by anyone. So if anybody wants to comment with respect to this request, this would be the time. Anyone? Okay, you have to come forward, please.
Should we step aside?
Little to the side, yeah.
Okay.
Can you introduce yourself and tell us where you live?
I'm Hannah Whitney. I live at 25 Montauk Lane.
Okay?
And I actually am impressed with the design. I think it's very creative. And I think that would definitely solve your problem. My only issue is that right now, under Village Code Section 21.5, a variance should only be granted if a unique hardship exists, and I'm not sure I've heard a unique hardship. Was there one submitted, or was there something specific? Is that no longer a requirement?
Do we have the 21.5 available for the public? Not really. Okay.
Sorry, I should have brought a copy with
No,
me.
no, don't go away.
Oh, I'm not.
So the response,
Oops.
all right. So the response relative to reasonable return is the existing lot and existing residents already in the property have a unique condition where an addition is most economical over the entire garage space. This creates the additional square footage being requested. It includes factors such as aesthetics. Bringing a home up above the entire garage allows the home to have a more comprehensive look. especially at the street frontage versus only half the garage, if only half the garage was used for the addition. Number 2, existing layout and the place foundations of the house create an economical way to bring the home up at the exterior walls of the north portion of the home, plus including an overhang to match the aesthetic of the existing home. This will create a less disturbance than if new foundations had to be poured and the soles dug up to accommodate those. And then the third point under this one is the existing layout of the stair creates a unique opportunity to add the new space to the north of the stair, mimicking the existing home. Creating a space that adheres to the required square footage would create a scenario in which the exterior walls would not line up between the first and second floor and create an incohesive exterior condition. So the unique is number 2. Unique circumstances. The response is many of the homes on nearby properties have initially been constructed as a multi-level due to the topography of the site or have a layout that was designed to have the maximum allowed square footage without needing an addition, during which achieving the square footage is difficult due to the existing structure of the home. This property provides a unique condition of being able to add entirely on top of the garage due to the location of the existing foundation and layout of the existing residence. See Exhibit A of the properties which have a higher FAR than what is required by the code.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what the hardship is. I thought a hardship was defined as something that's not fixable by moving, by doing something else, and that from what I read, that hardships were when you need to build a first floor bedroom for somebody who is in a wheelchair or something of that sort. Did I misunderstand what a hardship was?
A hardship is that you have to be able to have reasonable return on your property, and if there are conditions in your property that would not yield that reasonable return. And here what we've heard is that they need it for the growing family, and also because of the manner of construction, unless
Okay.
they're going to dig a new foundation,
you.
which we would not really like, because that will add impervious surface, which will not be good for drainage. They're, I don't want to say stuck, but they are faced with this as the option that is most. What Commissioner Cotton is referring to refers to the manner by which they're addressing the hardship,
Okay.
not whether it
I
exists.
agree with Commissioner Cotton in the fact that it's actually a second and third story built because the attic is actually open to the below on the second floor. It's open below. You can actually play in there. You can actually go up there and there's skylights. So that's another living area. So that's really a third floor, not just a 2-floor with an attic.
Okay, all right.
So
Anything else?
I think it would disrupt the flow of the neighborhood, and I'm sorry, but I totally understand where you're coming from. But if Vernon Hills is considering this option, which maybe we should look at that option, and if we do, maybe we should look at permitting ADUs like Chicago is now, and in-law suites and units with separate entrances. So I think that those should be options that we should consider
Okay,
so that people wouldn't be stuck in this position. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Anyone else? Wait. And you are?
Hi, my name is Patricia Bonick, and I live in 23 Montauk Lane.
Okay,
And I'm here because I saw the sign and I received the letter, and I just want to make sure that my block remains a single-family homes. I think was my biggest concern when I saw how much more was being built, and that's my concern about keeping the single-family home a single-family dwelling. We all know that we have aging parents and things can happen where you take people in. That's all. And just keep, it's always been a young community, children, and just so that we don't have cars in the street or cars blocking the sidewalk when you take a baby in a stroller. Yeah, and that the aesthetic of the block remains similar.
okay,
That's my, I
Okay.
don't know if it's a concern or my thoughts.
right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay, and you are?
Hi, I'm Mark Alexander, 21 Montauk. I have zero issue with them getting the addition. To me, I came here because I wanted to see what it looked like, and I'd prefer to have, we're on the left-hand side, right?
Wait,
You have to
no,
take a microphone.
that was the rule.
Complicated. Can you hear me now? No.
You have to turn it
Yeah,
on.
turn it
Oh,
on.
my
Do a little-
God, you're high tech here. Yeah, my preference would be that on the roof line, that it'd be the same. I think it'd be more aesthetically pleasing, and to me, is for a homeowner, they should have latitude in terms of what they do. But to me, it's also the neighborhood issue, and I'd rather have where it has the same roof line. And, because it looks like what they've done is to move it all the way to the front, where right now on the right-hand side, it's about 4 feet back, which I don't have an issue with, and then, but I'd rather have the roof line be the same, because I think it'll look a little better,
Okay,
so.
okay, thank you. Anyone
not a
else?
huge issue.
All right.
Can I just ask one question? Because the square footage, our houses are the same.
Go to talk microphone.
The square footage of my home and your home are the same. Do you have an attic above the rest of the house? Like, you have an attic above the bedrooms?
Yeah, but it's not, I mean, it's very low, so we're trying to see if we can have storage where we can actually walk into and not have to be cramped.
Got it,
That's what-
okay.
That's what it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Because we have attic now on top of the garage.
That one you can like
Yes.
walk into.
And we
more.
have
Yes.
storage there.
Yeah, so that
Yes,
one you
like
can more
I do,
stand,
uh-huh.
yeah.
But you
Versus-
have basement?
I do have a basement.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
it.
we
We
don't
have
have a
crawl
basement,
space.
yeah. It's
Yes,
just a
you have a
crawl
crawl
space,
space, yeah.
yeah.
But I was just wondering when you said the attic
Yeah.
above the garage, that maybe you didn't have an attic.
No, no,
There
no,
is
no.
But
space, it's
I-
just
yeah,
like
I
a
know,
low
I
one, yeah.
crawl in there.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you
that's
so
why we're trying
much.
to
All right.
be a little more comfortable with
Thank
the
you.
storage space.
Okay, any other one from the public? If not, we will close the public comment at this point. Since this is your petition, you get the last word. Do you want to respond, please? And what you should respond to is the consideration of other options, the single-family home assurance, as well as this issue of the roof line, which has been discussed previously.
Can I say something? please?
Yes.
So the hardship, the reason we're doing this is obviously the market is absolutely insane, and if you want to get a house with 4 or 5 bedrooms, you gotta be at least $500,000 and if not more. Plus the rates right now are also through the roof, so we can't afford to get a house with that kind of mortgage at the moment. And like I said, we live in a townhome that's 3 bedrooms currently. Our 1-year-old is sleeping in our bedroom, our 4-year-old has a small bedroom, and then my mother-in-law has a bedroom. So that's why my parents have, like I said, my parents have been very, very generous to give us the home essentially when they retire, so that we can have more space. And I grew up in Vernon Hills. I love this area. I love the schools. I went to Vernon Hills High School, and I want to raise my boys here with all the parks and greenery and everything. So that's kind of where the hardship comes from. Yeah.
To address the single versus multifamily, we're only adding 1 bathroom, which that makes it 2 baths for that many bedrooms. There's only 1 entrance, and the 2 additional bedrooms, like Aga said, are for family members. Aga and her husband currently spend time at their parents', so the traffic won't increase because they're already there all the time anyway. As far as the feasibility, like I already talked about, the foundations in the back, and as you mentioned, drainage and all of that would become an issue from a permit standpoint. And then we addressed the roof line. Was there something else that I missed from those 3 points?
No.
And we have
But I have a
one
que-
kitchen.
Okay, but I have a question for you, Andrew. The requested floor area ratio of 2405, is that the second floor addition, or does it also include the accessible attic?
It did not include the attic.
Is that part of our FAR?
It doesn't include an attic. It's just purely a storage attic, connecting it to the house, heating it, and that sort of thing. So connecting it to the house, heating it, and using it with, as finished floor area, I don't think it would meet the definition of attic anymore.
Okay, so what is the characteristic of what we're referring to as the attic?
So I think what everyone's talking about is the quote-unquote lofted storage that is going to be used as additional storage for the playroom, which when you're looking at the plans, it's on the sort of east side of the house, right above the laundry room and the bathrooms. So that's, again, more storage for toys and things like that for the kids, since their playroom is right below. And the playroom is kind of a small size due to that laundry being relocated and the bathroom adjacent.
So is it heated?
I guess it's open to the floor below, so you would consider that
And
heating.
is it finished flooring?
Doesn't have to be.
But it's accessible by a ladder.
It's accessible by ladder, not by stairs. So
Is it,
well, it's not an occupiable space technically. We're calling it, or we're using it as storage. And it's kind of like a library you would have, or something like that, that we would.
what's the ceiling height in that area?
I don't think I have a section, but I think it was at like 6'6".
Okay.
Definitely not higher than 6'6".
So my question is, what is the floor area ratio that we're looking at then? If we have an idea.
I would, I have to double check the, how
That's fair.
everything is defined
That's
for
fair.
that.
Yeah, I'm very confused about this attic now, how it incorporates with that room that's underneath it.
So if you look at the plan, on sheet A101, plan number 2.
Why don't you put it up on the screen? So we're all, make sure we're looking at the same thing.
How do I do that? Like this?
I think he just did it for you.
Oh,
He did.
okay. Is this a laser? It
Yeah,
doesn't
but
work
we
on the
can't see that
screen.
laser.
Bummer. Okay.
Do they have the cursor or no?
It is, but
They
it,
shouldn't be able to see it.
yeah, it
we
won't
can't see it,
reflect.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the existing second story, and we actually have to step up here because of the structure that's required now per code. So you have a step up, and then this floor right here is flush with the playroom, which is over here. Then you have an entrance to the laundry room, entrance to the bathroom, and then the 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
Then, when you walk up this ladder, which is kind of similar to like a pull-down ladder from an attic, but it's all open. So a ladder up, and then there is a lofted storage here above that you can walk up to. If you go up the stairs, you go right, and then there is a kind of like a hallway here that then up on the attic level, you can enter the storage above these bedrooms.
So one is called storage loft and one is called attic storage.
Yeah, so this is completely closed off of, so it's more like Christmas, stuff that you don't want to see every day. Whereas this lofted storage is more like toys or things.
That's A 1.02?
Yeah, it's open to below. So see
the
this
next
dashed line where I say there's a number 1 note to it? That's
Okay, why don't
where
you-
the railing would go or whatever, and you would see below.
So the storage loft
Yeah.
is climate controlled,
I have
and the attic is
Oh,
not.
thought
I don't have everything.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Okay, I'm sorry, Brian.
I said the storage loft is part of the climate control for the house, whereas the attic is not. It's
Yes,
outside the,
Sounds it.
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
I'd-
not-
What did you say, Brian?
the storage loft, because it's open to below, is part of the interior of the house. It's climate controlled like everything else. Whereas the doorway getting into the attic, now you're outside the climate control. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That is the point that we're trying to figure out.
So we did not count that towards that square footage I put on the plans.
Okay.
The
So-
reason
okay.
being is the ceiling height. Based on my understanding of the code, that's kind of what limits the floor area ratio, how you determine the square footage for that.
Yeah, I would have to look it up. I wouldn't want to hazard a guess
Okay,
off the
This
cuff.
stairwell or the ladder that leads to the attic area, is that down all the time, or is it up?
so the plan was to leave it down, but
So really,
doesn't
it's a
have to
stairwell.
be, really. I mean, we just put it there because it was less costly to do it, but if that's a requirement that we have to eliminate it to have it move up and down, that's fine. They have those like pull down sort of accordion ladders that could be implemented.
Are you referring to the loft or the attic when you say that?
The loft, the thing that has, I think, a number 9 on it.
Can you just point out the access to the attic then? The
It's through the
uncontrolled
loft,
space?
right?
It would be through a door going through the loft.
Here,
You have to go through the loft to get to
here.
Yes,
Is this yours?
There you
yes, I have it right here too.
Is this what you're talking about? All right, so for the commission, we're looking at Plan A1.02, which is mainly white space. There is a schematic on the left. Okay,
So, if you look at that plan, I don't think it's on there. If you look at that plan, you walk up the ladder that has the door, window tag number 10. You go up that ladder, you take a right, and then another right into a door that has a number 4 on it, and that's how you get into the attic storage space that we're talking about, that's unconditioned. And then that other space with the railing that's labeled, the 4-foot quote-unquote hall, and then the 15-foot 8 lofted storage, that's the open area.
right. Okay, so
So in the attic area, is the roof above that insulated?
Yes, the roof above the whole house is insulated due to current energy codes.
it looks like it's 11 and 3/4 basically. Times, looks like 19 about. So it's 223 square feet, the storage, in round numbers. And the other one is
And I
7.
mean, if this is the only thing that's gonna stop us from an addition, we can we can close the whole thing off and just have the whole thing be attic storage. That's not like
Like
a
300.
game changer for us. We're more focused on the
Feels like-
bedrooms and the bathroom downstairs.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Anything else you'd like to add?
I was just saying that if that's
No.
gonna stop us, then,
No,
yeah, we can
yes.
close it all off.
Nothing.
So did we decide that change what the petition is?
I can't off the cuff, just without reading
Right.
all the code definitions that relate to this, I don't want to hazard a guess.
Okay, so what we would do is, any motion we would make would have to be conditioned upon a finding to be supplemented by staff with respect to a verification when viewing the attic and attic storage, no, what's it called? The
Loft.
storage loft and attic storage, whether it is part of the square footage for FAR purposes, because that would affect what the floor area ratio would be. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the question is that if it would affect it in a manner that was materially adverse and the village found it so, it sounds like the petitioner is willing to not have it accessible from below, but have it accessible as a true attic. Kind of like in my house, you have to
Yeah.
go through a hole. Okay. That leaves the following question, which is the roof line question with respect to it. And I don't know whether anybody has any other questions on that. Jerry?
So if this becomes a true attic, I am not in favor of increasing the roof line. I think it should be the same roof all the way through. I am in favor of the second level, but not in favor of that additional height.
Okay. Anybody else?
In order to access the attic area above the garage, do you need that additional height on the roof? If the roof height came down, would you be, because you're saying it's a 6-foot ceiling in there?
I think it's 6'6" or something like that. I would have to double check on the section because I can't remember if we made it 6'6" or 6'7". But if you wanted to enter it through a door, yes. If you want just like a pull down stair,
Straight up.
yeah. We just need the clearance at the pull down stair to make sure you don't, bang your head as you
So
walk
that would
in.
be the difference between having the roof line the same versus different.
I think
is-
the intent of the height was also for the storage areas, because right now above their garage, it's a little better than just crawling through a hole. So they were trying to retain that above the addition, so we kind of just like moved it up.
Okay, anybody else?
So when we consider variations,
Mm-hmm.
are we supposed to consider that this is the least, I'm not even sure how to phrase it, but
It's intensive use there's
Yes.
here. I don't know the answer to that. I do know, and I'll defer to Andrew, is that we have to do it with respect to the standards for variation. And if it meets the standards, and even if it's not the least, I think it's still permissible.
It is permissible.
Yeah.
So I actually, that's where I'm hung up on this, is it seems like there are options, whether it's the roof or otherwise, where you could be asking for less. And the first standard is reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions. And to me, I'm struggling with the fact that there seems to be various pieces of this that there are alternatives that you could consider that it would be less, and the variation lives with the property in perpetuity if granted. So that's my current concern.
Anybody else? Okay. We have on this commission a standing motion to recommend approval. The standing motion to recommend approval here would be to recommend approval and make findings of fact for the facilitating of a second floor addition at 31 Montauk Lane, Vernon Hills by Section 21 of the zoning code to permit a floor area ratio to exceed the .33 maximum permitted and as currently calculated to be .37, but subject to a second condition that staff would verify for floor area ratio purposes whether the attic storage and/or storage loft should be included. And 3, should that be materially affecting the floor area ratio? I think you'd have to come back here. Fourthly, I guess it's fourthly,
Are we defining material?
I don't know what that is under the code, because there's a suggestion that if it's 10%, staff has administrative rights just to do it.
That's a suggestion
I know.
on a later
Okay.
document.
They're taking you up. Okay, on that, I also note that in our motion, and the staff says, in accordance with the second-story addition, what is the driveway plan, just out of curiosity?
It's a copy and paste there.
Okay, we'll take the driveway plan out on it. Okay, and then I would make a third condition, is that you perhaps consult and work with staff with respect to whatever this comes out to be, to see if you can determine a manner by which you can get the usable space by moving the storage from above the current garage to above now this addition without having the significantly increased height of the addition from the otherwise house's roof line. Okay, got all that? We need a second, unless there's something I missed.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Any comments is I'd sort of like to know what that new floor area ratio is before I approve anything.
I think the way that the chairman has phrased these conditions, if I read them correctly in combination, we've got the verification of the storage loft and attic space. If the floor area of the loft were to count towards floor area in terms of the calculation, it would all be switched to unusable attic space. And then the third condition, with staff working with them to decrease the height of the ridge of the roof. It does sound like the option is there's a logic problem here of if this, then that.
Yeah.
Where it stays within the floor area as it's been requested. If this causes it to go above what the request was, everything comes down after that. So the attic space becomes, all the additional space above the level of the second floor has to be unusable attic, storage attic.
Unlivable, but usable
Yeah,
storage.
usable as storage.
So you're saying they could not go above the 0.37?
They would be, the floor area would be exactly as requested. If the calculation would increase it over what we've got, that gets removed, it all becomes attic.
Right. Yep,
And we work with them to lower the height of the ridge line.
yep. Okay, anybody else, any comments?
Are you comfortable with that?
Okay, yep,
The,
right,
I guess it would be the northeast corner of the garage. There's a tree that's currently there. Is that tree going to be just pruned out of the way or removed as part of the construction?
Which one tree?
The apricot tree.
Looks like it's
No, this is
fairly
cherry.
tall tree.
This is cherry tree.
For the record.
This is, yes, and no cherries, because birds, old birds coming, and we have like 15 years and never had cherries.
I mean, we're not planning on removing the trees, so,
So
yeah.
it looks like from the satellite photo that it does overhang the
Yeah,
current
we-
roof
Yes.
line, so it would be just
Yes,
Yeah.
my husband always trimmed this because,
Correctively pruned
it's
back.
going to the roof.
Yeah, so we would just
Then-
trim the branches next to
trim
the
over
house.
remove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, all right, any other comments? I would say from my standpoint, I appreciate and I'm in favor of being able to utilize current residents in the village so people can stay here by improving them for livability, especially as our demographics change and we have to have, I shouldn't say have to, we appreciate having parents and others living with us, number one. I do think that if you can work with staff with respect to what I'm going to refer to as maybe the bulk look of it, by aligning the roof lines, I think that would be very helpful. And I do think that it is to some extent consistent with, other, existing structures in the Deer Path subdivision that have been improved. And then finally, I do appreciate, and I'm sorry I didn't write your name down, but you're back there somewhere, that it's going to remain a single family. We haven't designed this to have another family live there.
And I know you were concerned about cars. My mother-in-law does not drive. My parents will only use one car,
Yeah,
so we moved
okay.
there.
All right, okay. So
No,
with
just
that,
my kids
all right.
is coming
Think we're getting
always,
cut off
and
here.
So with that,
it's
any
no
other
problem
comments by the
with cars.
commission?
We never stay like a
Okay,
driveway.
any other comments by the commission? If not, we need a roll call vote.
Okay, we have a motion, a standing motion by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Nabbitt. Commissioner Nabbitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Cotton?
No.
Commissioner Fluno?
yes.
Commissioner Heidner?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
No.
And Chairman Morris?
Yes. All right. So you'll work with staff, and then you'll contact, I guess, you, Andrew, in terms of next steps?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
good
you so
luck.
much. I appreciate all your
Okay.
help.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Missing one.
All right. Next, we have on this evening's docket, with docket PZ 2602, a petition filed by Premier Realty Group on behalf of Ernie's Towing, requesting approval of a preliminary and final plat of subdivision of the parcel commonly known as 909 South Milwaukee Avenue. And who's going to speak on behalf of the petitioner?
I will. I'm Jeff Olm, Premier Realty Group, and I also do have Mr. Ernie Volley from Ernie's Towing and Wrecker Service.
I'm going to recuse myself for personal reasons.
Okay. All right. We'd ask you to raise your right hand and swear or affirm that this testimony you're about to give before this commission of the Village of Vernon Hills shall be the truth.
Correct.
All right. You are on.
Good evening. Again, my name is Jeff Olm. I have a company, Premier Realty Group. We'll be actually celebrating our 30th year in business. I've always been up here in the Vernon Hills area, lived here and worked here for the last, I think, since 1982, so quite a long time. Ernie and his family has had his wrecker service, actually, this year he'll be celebrating 70 years. So actually, he's 70, so he started when he was a baby. No, actually, his dad started it.
Yeah.
So they're celebrating their 70th year this year. They actually moved to the current location, which most of you know it as 909 South Milwaukee Avenue, back in 1970, so about 55 years at that site. Ernie continues to run the business, but obviously as aging, we were just talking about, we're all getting a little bit older. He's been looking at some different options. He loves the tow part of the business. A couple years ago, I think some of you guys heard the local Lincolnshire Riverwoods Fire Department came to us, talked about potentially putting another firehouse over there on the south property, which is basically what we're proposing. Right now, the current site, the total property is 6.4 acres, and that consists of the wrecker service, the Shell gas station, C-store, and then the car wash, and then also the truck parking to the south. So that goes all the way down to Apple Orchard Lane. So essentially, it would be like the northeast corner of Apple Orchard Lane and Milwaukee Avenue, which is, like I say, about 6.4 acres in total. The property south of the car wash, we started looking into, and like I say, we were talking with the fire department. We were pretty close on that deal, and then they changed their direction, as you probably all know, and went down a little further south. But that started opening up some thoughts with Ernie and his family, and he's now been approached by a few people. He's been basically truck parking there for the last dozen years or so, a long time. So the thought was to maybe consider selling. Nothing's been signed or anything like that. We've been approached by several parties. In order to do that, we started talking to Andrew probably 6 months ago, last summer or something like that, about the possibility of subdividing the 6.4 acres into two parcels. The main parcel, I think, still is known as parcel 1, and then the southern parcel would be known as parcel 2. Parcel 2 is 1.7 acres of vacant land. We initially proposed a drawing that I think had a slight variance, and then with some of the recommendations with our council and Andrew, we thought it was better if we just came before the board with the no variance request. So we made a few alterations, and I think what you guys are looking at now basically is an opportunity to create a subdivision for those one parcel into two parcels, roughly 4.4 acres, and then 1.7 acres of vacant. And probably the best thing that would happen with this versus if that was ever sold out, like for example with the fire department, we were going to have another access point on Milwaukee Avenue and then potentially another access point off of Apple Orchard. At this point in time, the proposal is this access for the 1.7 would remain the two entrances on Milwaukee Avenue. So we're not asking for any additional entrances. All we're basically asking for is, I think, two things. One, to have the re-subdivision with no variances, and then I think just, I forget what the other one, Andrew, was like, that's just to allow us to continue that use if we sold it, that Ernie's been doing for the last dozen years or so, that they could continue using that, because I think it's technically a non-conforming use.
Yeah,
So they could continue to use it as truck parking.
It is considered to be legally, lawfully established truck parking. It is a non-conforming use in this district, as long as it continues without modification. And the folks who have inquired about it to the village did ask about modifying it. So there's been a clear description to anybody interested in it that modification is not permitted. They can't add a building to it and make it a truck repair facility, for example. So anybody who is interested in this would come with the understanding that it's truck parking as is.
Right. And then I think the last part is, it also is on the plat of subdivision that there would be an easement to formalize the access point through the existing, what would be our south entrance, which is basically right in front of the car wash. So basically, nothing changes along Milwaukee Avenue.
They've been using it now anyway.
For the last quite a
The
few
guys
years.
that have been parking, we just use the one entrance to go in and out.
Okay, any questions?
So nothing can be done with this property except storage of tractor trailer and trucks?
It's not necessarily limited to tractor trailer. They have, over time, stored other types of larger vehicles, contractors.
Oh, that used to be my yard, excuse me, sir. I used to keep all the wrecked cars and everything there. And then what we did, what was it, 3 years ago, we moved everything to the north side of the building so we could have our cameras and fence everything off, electric gate and all of that, because it was so hard when somebody would go back there to look at a vehicle or something, you couldn't see them, and you couldn't tell. So what we did is I made it the truck parking, and I moved everything, all the cars and all that stuff to the north side. So it would just be for truck park, it'd be what it is right now. No different, no buildings.
And that's forever?
It's considered non-conforming, so there's a special section of the code that deals with legal non-conforming uses, illegal non-conforming uses, so it breaks them down one by one. A legal non-conforming use can continue if something causes it to be discontinued for a period of 6 months. Say they were to sell it, the guy who buys it decides he no longer wants to operate it. If he discontinues the operation, it can only be reused for a conforming use in the B1 district.
So it could be another use, but it has to be one that's allowed by B1.
Correct.
Okay.
And they could seek a separate entrance then?
They could. I think there's some restrictions between IDOT and the apple orchard easement that may make it difficult, but I wouldn't say never.
The one, I don't know if it's worth noting, but the only thing we ever heard from our conversations with IDOT, I think probably the one potential opportunity to have another access point on Milwaukee would have been the fire department because of their
Because of
special
being the fire
circumstances.
department, yeah.
Versus say we sold it to a Culver's, I don't think it's happening just
Yeah.
because we all know how IDOT limits access points. So, but for whatever that means.
And but access could be granted on Apple Orchard? Potentially.
Potentially, yes. Through this petition, the plat that you see would grant it while they own the entire parcel. They're essentially granting themselves an easement that allows them to wrap that up before attempting to sell.
So fast forward, they eventually sell this lot, and then the owner of that lot comes in front of us to get a new access point to the property?
Essentially, any development's going to require, in the B1 district, essentially any development's going to require review. There's not much that can be done without a site plan review, so one way or another, there would be a review of that.
Because I don't see another use going through a gas station parking lot in order for,
Another business, right?
Right.
Yeah, the apple orchard, sorting through the history of that easement might be preferable than to dealing with IDOT. So I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't say it would necessarily be directly off of 21. It might be off of Apple Orchard.
Yeah. Okay.
And-
Yep, Jim?
Currently, the pavement over there is all broken up.
Oh, the backyard where they park trucks and stuff, yeah, it's kind of gravel, blacktop, grindings, I use back there because I can't imagine what it would cost me to blacktop that, so. That and the trucks too, they go in there, they're heavy, they make a turn, they'll tear the blacktop up. So back there, that's partially gravel grindings, a lot of grindings. But then the other part of my property is all blacktop.
Nothing in the village ordinance that would control that, right?
So we do have a section of the property maintenance code that deals with the standard of pavement. Not starting as a pavement surface, though, I don't know that there's anything that would trigger, it's again, sort of a existing non-conforming condition. Nothing that I know of triggers that. The shopping center.
Including a sale to a subsequent.
Including the sale. So the sale of the non-conforming condition isn't necessarily a trigger of having to address it. So, again, it's sort of an as-is situation.
The good
Very
news to
unique.
that is it really is completely insulated from the outside world. As I think most of you know, there's a 6-foot privacy fence completely around it. So Apple Orchard, Milwaukee Avenue, nobody sees it.
Retention
Other
pond
than, you
behind
literally
it.
have to go by the car wash. So other than that, and that has been going on for the last, 30 years, but you are correct, that is a grinding
And
surface.
just where the car wash is, we're adding a fence in there. So like when you turn in to go to the car, you will not even see the backyard. The only entrance, well, we're gonna make it wide enough for the trucks to go in and out, but there's gonna be a fence all along there.
East of the car wash toward,
Yeah, east of the car wash.
Okay.
The fence ends,
Well, that's not.
fence ends like around right here. We're gonna extend the fence to like here, and then bring part of the fence to here. So that we do the entrance for the trucks to go in and out, and that way there, when you go in here, you won't see the garbage dumpster, you won't see the stuff back there.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, we have a standing motion to recommend approval, as you've heard earlier this evening, which would be approval of the preliminary and final plat of subdivision in accordance with the development ordinance to facilitate a subdivision of land that would establish a 78.4 square foot lot, which is 1.65 acres, for the property commonly known as 909 South Milwaukee, along the dedication of access and utility easements as illustrated in the plat by R.E. Decker, dated December 19, 2025, subject to the following condition of approval, which here is very important. The plat may be modified subject to the review of the village engineer and attorney. You ask, why is it important? Your plat has a specific legend on it referring to the Condominium Property Act and common elements. I don't believe this is a condominium. I don't believe there are any common elements. Okay, so your plat of Ernie's re-subdivision is going to have to be corrected and fixed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Okay, with that, we need a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, if not, we need a roll call.
We have a motion made and seconded by Commissioner Heidner. Commissioner Heidner?
Yes.
Commissioner Fluno?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Nabbitt?
Yes.
And Chairman Morris.
Yes.
And noting Commissioner Cotton had recused for personal reasons.
Okay, and you will, you'll have to deal with Mr. Jennings as well as getting your plat, quote-unquote, fixed.
Thank you very much.
Unless you're going to put a condominium there we didn't know about. Okay,
Thank you. I didn't notice that, thank you.
okay, thank you. Good luck. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're not really recessing, we're just pausing for a moment. We have the continuation of public hearing for case 2026-03, which was continued from
January 21st.
January 21st. So we have to start with a motion to reopen that public hearing. Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we can do it by acclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, it is reopened. Therefore, this is the reopened and continued public hearing for case 2026-03, a petition filed by Focus Development on behalf of the Hawthorne Mall ownership, requesting certain actions to facilitate a townhome development on the parking lot parcel directly west of 1050 North Milwaukee Avenue. 1, to revise the Hawthorne Mall PUD. 2, amendments to ordinance 2013-13 to revise the site plan, landscape plan, and architectural plans associated with the mall PUD. And I think that's it. So who's going to speak this evening on behalf of the petitioner?
So everybody who is already sworn in, because it's a continued hearing, you're considered to be sworn in.
Right.
So if you're new, we do need to swear you.
Okay, then we'd ask you to step forward and tell us who you are.
I'm Tim Anderson. I'm the CEO and founder of Focus.
Okay, we'd ask you to raise your right hand and swear or affirm that this testimony you're about to give before this commission of the Village of Vernon Hills shall be the truth.
It will be.
Okay, with that,
I think what would be useful, just really quick before Mr. Anderson gets started, is just a brief recap. This is a continued hearing, so the full record of this hearing already exists. So essentially, when you have a continued hearing, it's not something we do very often. We are picking up where we left off. There were some specific questions asked. The petitioner requested this continuation to address those concerns. The continuation was then voted on by the Planning and Zoning Commission. They're going to go through their response to those questions, other concerns that were raised at the hearing. Any new evidence, of course, the commission does have the opportunity to talk about. The public also has the opportunity to question new evidence. We would need to reopen the public portion because new evidence is being presented. So with that, I would hand it back over to Mr. Anderson.
Thank you very much, Andrew. As I said, my name is Tim Anderson. I'm the CEO and the founder of Focus. And I want to thank the staff and the commissioners for the opportunity to continue this hearing and to give us an opportunity to see how we can address some of the concerns that were raised at the last meeting. Before our experts present the technical updates, I really want to briefly touch on why this project is really important to the mall redevelopment, why it's important to the stakeholders of Phineas, Focus, and Centennial. And I think ultimately, I think it's also important, of course, the wider Vernon Hills community. we spent a lot of time on some of the granular issues, but I want to go back to the why of why we're doing this. The townhome development rounds out the multifamily housing offerings that are happening on the site. As you know, this commission approved Phase 2, which is similar, a little bit different mix, a little bit larger units as Phase 1, and also the outward-facing mall is being redeveloped. And what this townhome product will then be a different type of product. It will have maybe a different type of constituency, but we think that's really important so that we have a residential base that has different offerings. I think it's good for the community, and I think it's also good for the mall redevelopment. And the second thing I want to say is the timing we think right now is really a great opportunity, and it's critical that we get the timing. And I'll say a little bit more about that. We view it as critical because our ownership is committed to completing Phase 2, both the retail and the apartments. And if we can do this building at the same time, we could complete all construction in this whole east side of the mall redevelopment by 2028. As we're doing it in pieces, it's disruptive. It's disruptive to the consumers that come and want to use the shopping. And so we prefer to get this approved so that we can put that construction concentrated in those time zones when Phase 2 is being developed and the townhomes can be done at the same time. So that's our position. We would love to have your partnership so that we can help deliver a finished asset into the community at the same time Phase 2 is being delivered. And lastly, just a little update on parking. Let me go to where. Yeah. Okay. We've had several conversations with staff about solutions for the parking campus-wide, all across the whole campus. And we've embarked on a significant improvement of signage, which we're showing on the slide there. And it improves wayfinding so that it will substantially improve the overall parking. What we're experiencing is that retail consumers are not using the structured parking. It needs more identification. And what in terms of our parking and what we need in terms of solutions for the campus, we think that if we take these steps now, we want to see if these are addressing some of the concerns about the parking before we start talking about other solutions for parking. So that's something that we're working on. We're working closely with staff, and I think we have some ideas. And we really want to see how this signage helps to drive more of the parking into the structure, which can take a little bit of load off parking in other areas of the campus. So I'm going to turn it over to Sheila Eustace, who is our Senior Development Manager working on the development.
Thank you, commissioners and staff. It's wonderful to see some of you again. I'd like to orient us back to the site location at the top northeast quadrant of the mall campus to the Hawthorne Townhomes. Again, we'd like to thank the Planning and Zoning Commission for the thoughtful feedback provided during the January 21st hearing. We have carefully reviewed the topics we discussed and have refined our site plan to ensure the project better aligns with the safety and traffic goals of the community. Each of our consultants will dive in further, but I'd like to offer a roadmap of what we'll be covering today. These are our 4 program updates. The first being the Building 9 egress and ingress. We'll show a building update for the new buildings 9A and 9B. Topic number 2, rear-to-rear alley offset parking and parking ratio. We have a better visual and an understanding of why this is important to us. Number 3, the AMC median planting and irrigation update. And number 4, the sidewalk connectivity and grade transitions. Going to program update number 1, Building 9 ingress and egress improvements. So, the Commission expressed concerns regarding the safety of the vehicles exiting directly out of Building 9 onto Hawthorne Center AMC Drive. Specifically, the design utilized 3 reverse exits, which presented potential visibility and traffic flow concerns for that roadway. As shown, this revised site plan included here contemplates a central drive aisle, which is 24 feet wide, between a new separated Building 9, hereby named 9A and 9B. This modification will increase sight lines, improve vehicular and pedestrian safety, and internal maneuverability. In short, we will be able to use the center drive aisle to maneuver so that all reverse movements occur on the townhome property itself. This plan revision will also alleviate the concern expressed by some of the commissioners that the garages open directly to the AMC drive. These garages now face inward to the shared drive aisle, conforming with the design of the other townhomes in buildings 1 through 8, which also face inward. I will now hand this off to Jeff Mulcrone, who will talk about the architectural updates to Building 9A and 9B. Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. As Sheila mentioned, we took the 3-unit building that used to be there and we separated it into 2 individual row homes. So the middle unit is gone there. So we have now these 2 homes essentially on the site. And when we did that, we had to look at the architecture as well to make sure that, these function well and, we're aesthetically pleasing, towards the west. And so what you see on the screen here is the elevations that would face the west. And normally, in the past, those would have garage doors on that face. So we turn the garages 90 degrees, and so the garage entrances are now on the side, and the garages face each other. So presenting to the streetscape are now some small windows there, into the garage. So this presents more of a nicer streetscape, architecturally for that fenestration there. And then this is the east side of the buildings that, faces the internal courtyard and park. It's very similar, all the architecture is substantially similar to the existing design that was presented last time we were here. Same materials, same color palette, it's just the architecture is a little bit more refined to create these two unique homes on the site. And this is a conceptual rendering of how that would look as you're on the ring drive there from the movie theaters as you're walking by. I'm showing a car leaving, so cars would back out in between the buildings and then face forward and be able to drive out versus backing out into that road. So there's the ability to back out of your garage and not back out into any kind of traffic. And then there's the sidewalk systems and the landscaping that goes around with that.
While you're on this one, do you happen to have the separation between the 2 buildings?
I believe we're 24 feet.
24 feet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's enough room to back up and maneuver and then drive back out.
Is it really that dark brown?
It's a dark gray. This is a warm evening shot, so with that material, it'll take on that hue a little bit.
Okay.
It's a gray? Did you say?
Yeah, it is. It is. I actually have the materials here if you'd like to see them again.
But it's going to be the same colors as the other buildings?
Yes. Yeah. All the colors are the same.
Even though this looks like, it looks like the haunted house. They're gray. Yeah.
No.
Right. Yeah. So,
And how many units are in each of those buildings?
It's just one unit. It's a 3-story single unit, so it's essentially
So
a home.
there's 2 units.
There's 2 units there, so we did drop 1 unit.
1 unit.
So you're now at 48 for the property. Is it
46.
46.
46.
46.
Yeah.
And the balconies on both of these face the AMC parking lot versus the grassy areas internally?
It's just the way the units are designed. So on that middle floor, these are normally like a rear load unit. And so those balconies are off the kitchens, which are to the rears of those plans, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else on architecture? Okay.
Caleb?
Thank you, Jeff.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kayla O'Sullivan with the Civil Engineer. So the next item, as Sheila already alluded to, is the rear-to-rear alley offset parking. So we discussed this. There hasn't been any changes to this since the last meeting that we had, but we did add some extra visuals just to give a better representation of this. So to make sure that there's enough space for both yards and alleys, which includes the fire lane, which is the 24 feet that you see around there. There is 49 spaces from the edge of one building to the edge of another building. So if you take out the 24 feet for the fire aisle, drive aisles through there, you're left with 25 feet. So when we were evaluating this, we've discussed this with staff and also with the development team. We were trying to look at balancing different types of units, giving different options. So what we decided on was having a slight offset in the length of the aprons. If you were to do consistent aprons for all the units, that would result in only 12.5 feet on each side, which is not long enough to park a car. So going back to some of the other options for units, we decided to make some longer aprons, which you can see is what's shown in the red boxes there. And on the visual on the bottom left as well, you can see those little yellow boxes are representative of a car. So that's like a typical car is anywhere from 15 to 18 feet usually. So that extra space for those aprons allows for additional guest parking for those units. And then to address the other units with the shorter aprons, which are only 6 feet long, so that 6 feet allows for maneuverability in and out of the garage, gives some extra space for a sight line so they're not driving straight into the fire lane. Those shorter aprons, there is also 15 spaces around the site. So those are the same 15 spaces that you all saw last time. There's some in the southwest corner and then some parallel and perpendicular spaces on the east side of the site. Those spaces are reserved for the other 15, those 15 spaces are reserved for the other 21 units that don't have those additional guest parking in the aprons. So that results in about a 0.7, or if you think about it, 70% of those units could have a guest all at the same time, versus the code is 0.3 guest units per space. So we have that additional space, different optionalities, a little bit different of a product type for people to view and choose from when they're looking at townhomes out here.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Perfect. I'll turn it over to Catherine.
One question, I'm sorry. Just looking at the graphic, it says large aprons allow buildings 1, 2, 5, 6, and 9 to have 2 additional guest spots. And then it says buildings 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9. 9 is listed twice.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Sorry,
Good catch. Yes, but yes, it should only be in the second one. That's included in those
Okay.
21 units.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, that was you got a sharp eye. Yep, but thank you.
Good evening, I'm Catherine Talty, landscape architect, and I would like to address the median that runs between the development and the AMC Theater. We discussed this at the last meeting and talked about the durability of the plant material that would be planted in there, and so we reevaluated the species that are intended to be specified. And maybe most importantly, the fact that we were leaving some areas of turf in the median, and there was concern about the health and vigor of that plant material if we were not to irrigate. So, so we reevaluated the plant species and specifically chose species that were very durable and drought resistant, drought tolerant. So species that are native grasses and hardy perennials, as well as a few woody shrubs that could tolerate this kind of environment. So we feel confident with the plant palette, and Centennial has agreed to maintain the median to make sure that the landscaping remains healthy and viable. And though we feel that this could survive and thrive well without irrigation, the developer is open to the idea of irrigating that median.
How wide is that median?
It's actually fairly wide. I don't know if I have a measurement on that on here, but it is, I believe, 12 to 15 feet wide.
Is the island crowned at all, or is it flat?
It's crowned. It's crowned. And we're going to essentially kind of rebuild that grade once these are installed, so we will maintain our
Place the
ground.
soil and,
What does open to mean when you say, okay, so they're not open to, they're going to irrigate it?
Yeah,
Okay.
We had put a note in the staff report on this. This is one of the questions that I had in reviewing the supplemental materials. And the note in the staff report just indicates that the mall would agree to maintaining it. If this development were to put it in, it would be fed off of the mall and become the mall's maintenance responsibility. It's fully on their property. So rather than have some other type of agreement that requires them to go off their site, the mall would agree to take it on.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Any questions?
So they're maintaining it, but if something dies out, who's replacing it?
Centennial has stated that they will take full ownership, winterization of the irrigation, the power of the irrigation, and tapping off their own water line for that irrigation as well.
Thank you.
Just don't go away since you came up. I have to go back. Is there a cross-parking agreement between this and the mall?
Between the townhome development and the mall, I'm going to have potentially Kayla speak on the cross-parking agreement. She knows more about the general malls inner workings.
Yes, so there's agreements across the mall for both Macy's, JCPenney, and the mall owner, which is Centennial, that maintain all the roadways. Macy's and JCPenney have their own parking that's separately parked for those anchor stores. And then Centennial owns the rest of the parking. Everything for phase two, there's a split for phase one, the domain, and for phase two, where there's designated retail spaces in the garages, that is mall parking. And then, so that would be Centennial parking essentially, since they manage all the retail pieces. And then they have a gated area that goes to residential after that. Townhome will be the same. They will have their designated parking on their parcel there, so those 15 guest spaces, all the garage spaces, all the apron spaces will be designated townhome only. That'll be owned by the Focus development team and their joint venture. And then the rest of the mall parking is all owned by Centennial. So we've done parking studies there for parking ratios across the whole campus that balance the retail of both phase one and two, and then the main mall building as well, excluding those anchor stores, because Macy's and JCPenney have their own.
Okay, thank you for that. But is there a cross-parking agreement between this townhome parcel and the mall parking lots?
No, so townhomes will be separately parked.
Different, no, that's not the question. Is there an agreement between this parcel and the mall to allow people from this parcel to park on the mall parking lot?
Oh, I see. No, there is not. So all the guest spaces will be designated just for townhomes.
Okay, but we can agree we're in the suburbs. And we can agree we're not in the city where we walk blocks to park. If you look at many of these, the closest guest parking to some of these buildings is the mall lot by AMC. You're saying those individuals cannot use that mall lot or they'd risk getting towed?
Correct.
Is that a good idea?
I know that the development teams have looked through that and everything. I know mall security checks through there. I know that's part, I'm sure, of what the, like, part of the lease of the townhome agreement will be.
Yeah, but if you look at buildings 1 and 3, the closest is the AMC lot. And this is the suburbs, this isn't the city. So are you looking at an agreement with the mall for cross parking?
We are not looking at that right now, okay? And what happens right now is, frankly, and we're doing other mall redevelopments, there is sometimes people from the domain, they park in the mall parking lot. And, you know, and they utilize it. And then we try to police that as much so we don't have any overnight parking. We police that. We'll tow people for that. But the intermittent parking of somebody in that lot is really not controllable from that perspective.
So why not have an agreement?
We can probably work on that. We can look at that. I mean, you know, the cross ownership is already there, so it's in the interest of both.
Yeah, okay.
There would be stipulations if we had to do that, which would be, you know, no overnight parking and things like that.
Yep, okay. Great. Anybody else?
Does the mall prohibit overnight parking in their lot?
Yes. Just one staff note. I think going back to the beginning of this evening's testimony, Mr. Anderson had made a request that essentially amounts to modifying one of the conditions of approval that was included in a motion from last week. I think what the fourth condition, surface parking on the middle lot, the middle outlot on Milwaukee Avenue.
Right.
What I would suggest to that, so by filling in a little bit more background, I had received the preliminary work in response to that condition. Because this was a continued hearing, they were able to get to work on that. And the mall ownership group had requested consideration of this condition. The way I would react to that is the condition number 4 essentially would need to be addressed in one way or another, either by rewording it specifically in a motion from this commission, or with the understanding of the commission that when this goes to the board, there's been additional work on this. So the long and short of it is that the 1000 North Milwaukee, what we've been talking to them about is the exact timing of when that would be constructed. If they have a tenant by a certain date, perhaps not trigger it until we know that. These interim improvements that have been presented as part of the evidence tonight, the actual parking improvement plan, the signage improvement plan, combining that with some sort of control on where the valet for Perry's goes, that is under the control of the mall. So what I would suggest is either it be in a motion, or that I just spell out what their request would be once that goes to the board. I think the cleanest thing would be to just somehow write it out and include it in some type of motion, so that it's clear that the commission understands that something that was in a previous motion, the petitioner, the development team has already evaluated, and they want to be upfront and say that they don't think they can practically do it exactly as written. So with that, I mean, I'm happy to wordsmith it, but
So you're suggesting our vote on findings of fact and recommended approval to amend ordinance 2013-13 as amended, which has a condition 4. There's a new motion with respect to the same ordinance 2013-13. It wouldn't be subject to all the 7 conditions?
it would
or
be, so the commission's already made a motion, it already passed. So my suggestion is one way or another to somehow indicate understanding that condition, they have already indicated by doing their research that they don't believe they can practically do what is written in that condition. So either they would go to the board and just request it to the board, or just get it on the record as part of this hearing, that they're requesting consideration of that timing to allow these interim improvements, basically have an evaluation of the performance of these improvements. So moving the valet, moving employee parking, improving the directional signage, see how those things pan out. If they don't have a tenant for the middle lot in a year, then build it, but let those interim improvements play out because they may achieve the desired effect.
Okay. Right. Okay. Anything else on your standpoint?
The only other thing that we did want to touch on, just for clarity, because I know there were some questions. So again, this isn't a change from the last time we were here, but it is a clarification on the sidewalk connectivity. So we've got a colored map up here, just to kind of visualize. I know in 2D, it's hard to imagine all the grade changes and things like that. But you can see everything in green is kind of on that lower level. So the domain is on a lower level. If you all have been out there, you'll see there's a retaining wall currently there. It will maintain that. We'll construct a retaining wall in between the green and blue lines that run in parallel on the south side of the townhome property. So that's why there's two sidewalks there. There'll be one lower and one approximately 10 feet higher. Those yellow areas are the stairs. So the yellow on the left side is actually already constructed. So you might have seen that out there. The yellow in the center is another option for pedestrians to be able to take stairs. And then we also want to be conscious of ADA accessibility. So once you get up to that higher level, which is again about 10 feet higher where the townhomes pad is, there's also an ADA route. So that maintains all the slopes required by the federal code. That pink line transition. So if you see how short those yellow lines are, that's why there's stairs there. They don't have room to make the transition. That pink line is the accessible route that runs directly along Hawthorne Row to be able to catch up to grade transition if people need to get out towards Milwaukee, get to other locations, get to the connection as part of the townhome site as well.
Okay, anybody else?
Can you confirm again that I guess it would be the southwest corner of Mall Drive and Hawthorne Center, that radius is being pulled back?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, so that'll be the same. The radius is increased to, and we did truck turning movements for that one as well. And that won't impact any of the sidewalk. We're redoing the sidewalk up there anyway.
Okay, anybody else? Anything else on your behalf?
I think so. Thank you.
Okay, this is a continued public hearing, so if anyone from the public wishes to speak, this would be the opportunity to do so. Okay, seeing no great rush to the podium, we can close the public hearing portion. Okay, so Andrew, maybe what you should do is confirm what actually is before us versus what we've already decided.
So in the staff.
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah, sure.
Tim, I think that was your name. You presented an image of the garages with, I'm not sure what you were proposing in your picture there. Were you proposing signage change there?
Yes, I'll go back to that slide. So these are the proposed ongoing improvements to the parking and wayfinding signage campus-wide. I have a printout here, but it's 30 signs of specific wayfinding signs throughout the mall campus to really help increase that this is public parking, this is for retail parking, this is to be utilized, because when we've seen surface lots full, the garage is completely empty and open, and people don't know to utilize it.
Mhm.
So that's something that we've taken the onus on, that we can do a better job of communicating that.
These particular pictures that you have here, does it say public parking currently?
Does not, and they just say parking. So these are the improvements and the proofs that will say public parking, they'll be illuminated, and there'll be wayfinding throughout the campus.
And are the sections in signage within the garage to direct the public to their areas versus the resident areas?
Yes, I did not snip that one, but there's specific ones saying directional sign to this shop or that shop throughout.
So when the Phase 2 relocation came in front of the commission, this was a condition of the approval of that amendment to the PUD. It was just a vague suggestion at that point. This is a more specific response to that, so you can actually see what it is they would be doing.
It's more help.
This comes from we had walked the site with the development team before the Phase 2 relocation hearing and walked through these types of suggestions, pointing out how the branded parking signage is really difficult for the public to read, especially at night. So our thinking on this is that this should help immensely to let people know that the public parking exists.
I have one question on, I've been through there before. It looks like it's just that grade level for parking with EV charging on one side and regular. Can you actually go in the ramp? It looked like it was all blocked off.
I'm not too privy on all the details, but the signage proofs that I saw that EV charging this way, additional parking, residential parking. Our signage will hope to improve to be very clear on what is residential.
Is the
and what's
public
open.
parking only in that bottom level, or is there additional public?
I don't.
Basically, when you drive in, it's that level area, but it also goes down the one level that would be just.
So if I'm on Hawthorne Row and I'm pulling in, I can go to the right?
Yeah, you can go to the right and go down that level as well.
I've never gone that way, so, okay. Thank you.
Nobody else
I've
has
never
either,
gone-
right?
I've never gone in the garage. I parallel park.
So I'm not sure if I could.
Okay.
So how does-
So the mechanics of
So
the
now,
question. Yeah.
this brings up my other question is, how does this solve, you said wait until we see how these things work before we do anything about addressing the Perry's parking,
So what I'm suggesting is that there's a few different improvements. Relocating the valet so that you as the owner, the mall as the owner, can dictate where the valet parks. They can tell them the valet spaces are here. They can tell the employees you can park here. So moving who we believe is currently using that lot, we believe it's the valet and the employees. So giving them a spot dedicated to them to park on the campus, and then adding these public parking wayfinding signs may actually resolve the parking issue on this. So pointing people from Yard House to this. So when it's full, you'll see additional parking available. Pointing people toward the garage may actually help solve the problem. And so what I'm suggesting is where you are in terms of the motions, there's a draft motion on page 13 of your report, because we had originally split the site plan motion into two. So what I would suggest is a condition of approval on that motion, referencing the rewording of condition 4 to allow interim improvements of signage and dedicating employee and valet, or mandating employee and valet parking to determine if, after, I would say maybe a year, pick an appropriate date, middle of the spring of '27. If by that date this doesn't seem to be working, then some sort of trigger to the surface parking on the middle lot on Milwaukee.
well, doesn't it have to work if you've used up this lot where this site is? They have to find someplace else to go.
Yeah, and I think having some sort of, by taking it away, but then also pointing people, just anecdotally, we have talked to customers of Yard House who are completely unaware that the garage exists. So we do know that this is an issue, and we've been working with them to solve it. So there is a possibility that getting people to park in the existing lot may solve a lot of the problems here. So I think, I was throwing out June of '27. If they don't have construction underway because somebody's gone through the full land use process, and we still see this as an issue, then that's the point at which that surface parking has to be done.
But doesn't that assume that the first floor retail in the domain will remain essentially unsuccessful, and there will be available parking there. If it actually is successful and those spaces are filled up, these other uses aren't going to be able to go there probably.
Yeah, I think, so the idea of you do have, when you've got shared parking like this, you have different users for
Yeah.
peak at different times. So I don't know that the peak of Yard House is necessarily going to overlap much with the peak of Lovesac. So
No.
the idea of this is that it is shared parking, but some of the users who are legally allowed to use it aren't using it at all.
So this is, wait, now I'm really confused. So this is shared parking, so there's a parking agreement, but there is not one between the townhomes and the rest of the mall?
That was the testimony. The townhome has to self-park as it is right now.
Okay, right. Okay, and then with respect to this motion on page 13, it's the rewording of condition 4 you're suggesting, but also the further incorporation of conditions 1 through 3 and 5 through 7? They stay in effect, is that correct?
Yes, so we could add
We'd have to add those to it. Okay. All right. Any other comments, questions from up here?
At the condition, where are what pages are the other conditions?
They're on page 6 of 13.
Is the maintenance of the median a condition?
No, we got to add it. Okay, plus,
Catching stuff on the first night.
it's sprinkling and median maintenance by mall.
So now we've changed point 4, correct?
Yeah, so what I'm suggesting is rather than disturb an intact motion,
Right.
we have the other half of that same motion dealt with this Building 9 issue. So we use that opportunity to just document
Yeah.
that they've requested relief on that other condition.
Yeah. And you're going to add the sprinkling and medium for the mall?
Median and sprinkling.
Yeah.
Go with the
Okay.
mall.
All right. Okay. If there's nothing else, we have a motion to make findings of fact, recommend approval to amend ordinance 2013-13 as amended to revise the site plan, landscape plan, and architectural plans associated with the Hawthorne Mall PUD to facilitate the construction of 46 townhome units for the property located at 725 Ring Drive, consistent with the overall site plan exhibit with revised Building 9 layout by Kimley Horn Associates, last revised January 18th, as well as the referenced rewording of condition 4, the further inclusion of conditions 1 through 3 and 5 through 7 from the prior motion of the prior portion of this hearing, as well as adding that the median between the townhome development and the AMC Theater will be sprinkled, and the mall will accept maintenance responsibilities for it. Okay. Any comments?
Do we have to change that to say Building 9 A and B?
Sure. A and B. Got it. Okay. Any comments?
I would just note the plan, the landscape plan that was
Yeah.
demonstrated, that was displayed in the
Was it
I don't have a reference for it.
The revised.
The revised median
Revised.
landscape. So I would add that to the original motion, that it's the overall site plan exhibit with revised Building 9 layout,
Revised.
plus the landscape plan.
That's fine.
Specific to the island.
Okay. We need a second then?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
All right, we have a,
Wait,
I was just going to say, personally, as far as the changes that were made, Building 9 works for me. I think it looks very nice with the property. The planted median is nice as well, satisfies what I was looking for. And as far as the parking, I think those smaller blue oval or circular signs are probably going to attract more attention than the signage on the building itself, which is kind of around the corner. And I think those are going to be even more critical. So.
okay, anybody else?
I agree with the comments he just made, but I'm still concerned with the density of this entire development.
I agree with both of the comments that were made. I do still like, despite our former association with the architect here, I do like the architecture on this. However, I do think it's extremely dense, and I cannot wrap my head around the back-to-back parking with one gets parking outside and the other one doesn't on it. So that's still an issue for me. Anybody else? If not, we need a roll call.
So we have a motion made by the chair and seconded by Commissioner Hendrick. Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Cotton?
Yes.
Commissioner Fluno?
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner?
No.
Commissioner Nabbit?
Yes.
And Chairman Morris.
No. Okay. Next, we have a motion to make findings of fact, recommend approval to amend ordinance 2013-14 to revise the special use permit for the Hawthorne Mall planned unit development for the townhome development as follows. 1, to permit a density of 16.41 units per acre, where 8.72 dwelling units per acre is permitted. 2, to permit lot building width of 21 feet when 25 foot is required. 3, to permit a building height of 45 feet when 35 feet is permitted. And 4, to permit 4-foot open fencing in front yard, which is not permitted typically. We need a second for that.
Second.
Any discussion?
I don't have any problem with the height of the buildings, it's just the density overall.
Okay, we need a roll call.
We have a motion made, seconded by Commissioner Fluno. Commissioner Fluno?
Yes.
Commissioner Cotton?
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner?
No.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Nabbit?
Yes.
And Chairman Morris.
No. Okay, I think that's it. All right.
That's it.
And you'll
This
in
will be
touch.
packaged up for the committee of the whole on the 17th. And I'll be in touch if I have any questions when I'm preparing the recommendation for their review.
Okay, thank you. Good luck. All right, next we have a public hearing for case 2605, a petition filed by the Village of Vernon Hills, requesting approval of certain amendments to the Vernon Hills zoning code. 1, definitions of business types not currently referenced. 2, requirements for accessory structures in residential districts. 3, parking and vehicle storage in residential districts. 4, application of regional plan unit development regulations versus standard code. 5, parking stall dimensions, restrictions related to parking vehicles within marked stalls. 6, administrative variances. 7, lighting regulations. And 8, local modification of the state's EV charging provisions. Okay.
I need to be sworn in for this.
Oh, I guess you do. Okay. Do you swear or affirm that this testimony you're about to give or the Village of Vernon Hills shall be the truth?
I do.
All right.
Andrew Jennings, Community Development Director, representing the petitioner, the Village of Vernon Hills, on this petition. What I'd like to do is just do a very general overview first. I can go through these point by point and be happy to do so, but let me just begin with a general introduction. We compile potential amendments to the zoning code in a couple of different ways. We work with businesses who we have difficulty finding any reference in the zoning code that's going to be relevant to them. They're not similar enough to an existing business type. We also, from time to time, will deal with repetitive questions in our plan reviews. So we'll have a question, is this a gazebo? Is it a deck? What are we looking at here? So which section of the code applies to it? We get variation requests, or we'll deny a building permit that doesn't turn into a variation request. And the nature of those requests coming to us, we see them enough that we think, okay, maybe it's a time for the code itself to be reviewed. So what we do is we take those. We take all those things over time, and after a little while, we go revisit the list and we say, is this still a problem or not? Is this something that needs solving? So we're at that point now where over a few years we've compiled items. I believe that these are the items that do need solving. I've talked to my inspectors, my front office staff. I've talked to the fire department. I've talked to other folks about some of these to try to understand how best to address these. So with that, I have I've put together the red line version. Just a couple of quick notes for the group. I did send out a revision I don't know how I missed it originally, but we've recently done a building code update, so effective in March, we're going to have a new version of our building code in the village. There's one item that is really more of a zoning issue. The state has a mandate for new construction and significant rehab and condo conversions to provide EV-capable spaces. So that is a space that is could potentially have a charger in it. That means it has to have conduit leading up to that stall within 3 feet of the stall, and on the other end of that conduit, you have to have an electrical panel capable of supporting an EV charger. So the state requires that. They require it at a rate for multifamily construction that is 1 per unit. So in a 300-unit building, you'd have to have 300 EV-capable stalls. In reviewing actual demand, what we looked at is, even if you do have a 1-to-1 ratio of EVs in every single unit, most people who have an EV don't charge their EV on a level 2 charger every day. So it is possible for residents of a large building to share EV charging. So what that particular amendment would do, just to start on this one, since that's the one I forgot from the original report, what this particular amendment would do, it would allow, at the time of site plan review, during a hearing like tonight, it would allow the petitioner to explain how it is that they plan to manage EV parking, a system for sharing it, and on that review, it could be reduced to 0.2 per unit. So a substantial reduction based on their ability to not assign those spaces and leave them open to anybody in that building to use. So that's the EV charging one. So yeah.
How would it work for the townhomes?
For the townhomes, they're actually different construction type. They're considered attached single family.
Okay.
They have to have the EV capable in their garage.
Do we need a garage here?
You have to have the conduit. It's easier in an attached garage than it is in a parking garage on a multifamily. So not to get too deep into the weeds on it, but there are other concerns with EV parking, specifically in structured parking. That EV charging has been found to have a higher likelihood of starting a fire than just regular parking. Parking in a structure is already somewhat hazardous. Adding the EV charging to it does make it somewhat more difficult to fight that fire, should there be a fire. It requires more water, it requires other methods. So we're trying, in the example of the Phase 2 building, we're trying to concentrate the EV parking in one spot, increase the sprinkler coverage in that spot, have it be open air where we can, put it closer to the top and closer to the bottom so that that the smoke can get out. So there's a lot that goes into that one. So that's item 1.
So when did that pass? When was that made law?
That was a couple of years ago, and I think it took effect. January of 25. The State EV Charging Act. So it is in effect now, and we would have to, from this point on. This provision, if it passes, would allow us some flexibility to reduce the minimum required EV-capable spaces from what the state needs or wants. I had heard that there's a possibility the state was going to look at changing this, but it hasn't happened. So I think it is something we are allowed to amend. So, and the zoning code is the right place to do that. So that's the first one. So under accessory structures, these things are kind of spread throughout the code. So I've put the section numbers in there that kind of corresponds with the red line document. For the record, we have confusion over the different definitions of accessory structures: pavilions, gazebos, decks, pergolas. So the sections of the code that relate to that, I would just recommend some clarifying language. Feel free to stop me at any point.
Are we going to do this all as one, or?
Yeah, that would be my request, is just take the document. If there's anything in particular the commission has an issue with, this would be you can stop me on any one of them, and we can talk about them. So with that, are there any questions on the ED one? I can put that one aside since it's, all right. If we go by the code, it's going to jump around too much by topic, so that's why I have the memo. So if we go by the topics, even though it'll jump around the code, it'll at least be topic by topic. Fair enough?
Try it. The only thing about going to the code, you can actually see the language.
Yeah.
So if you have the memo on one side, the first one, these accessory structures, the section references for that one tend to be in the 4.6, 4.7 range. Okay, so that is, if you flip to page 18.
Yep.
You'll pick that up. This is the first one, repetitive issue. How do we actually measure coverage in the rear yard? So this is essentially an impervious, one of the ways we control impervious coverage in a residential district, and just clarifying how we measure it. It's a confusing thing for architects and our staff as well. So this is just putting down in writing, this is how this measurement's done. It's a housekeeping. Also under the accessory structures directly below that, we have anything with a wall on it is really the point of that requirement. So I'm just putting the word in there. If it's got a wall, it's limited to this 120 square foot. The open walled structures have a higher square footage. So then the next page of this picks up other accessory.
So they can only have one shed in their lot?
In addition to a detached garage. So if you have a detached garage, you can have one shed.
I've seen a few with more than one shed.
Yeah, it is not an uncommon violation. So again, picking up on the next page, we got the open walled, the regulations for open walled accessory structures versus closed. Directly beneath that, this is regulations for storage pods, 472. We don't necessarily issue a permit for all of them. Some of them do come in for a temporary permit. Some of them they just put out during a renovation project in the house. So this is just making sure that these are limited and that they should have a temporary building permit for that temporary structure so we can document when it came.
Storage units include trash units?
So the dumpster, so we have a dumpster would be allowed. You could put it in your driveway. Similar issue, you can have it during the construction. And I think we actually covered that elsewhere in our building code update to limit the use of a dumpster to the time where the construction is ongoing. So that was our temporary. I think we covered all the ones in that first, in that point 1 on the memo. Any other questions on that one? And a lot of these really amount to clarifying issues that we have. The next one I have is a bigger topic, parking in residential areas. It's split between the accessory, control of accessory use in 4.7, and then the parking regulations in 19.8 and 19.5. We have, from time to time, from a code enforcement standpoint, confusion about commercial vehicles. There is a mistake in this one. The 47314, which is on the bottom of page 20. It should read that the parking or storage of commercial vehicles, construction or landscaping equipment or materials outside the dwelling. That next one, within an attached garage, it should be stricken. So the point of this is a commercial vehicle outside of the garage is prohibited unless, and then that paragraph below.
Isn't or detached accessory structure also stricken?
Yes.
Okay.
So it has to be
inside.
It has to be inside unless the next paragraph is satisfied. And that's just, again, just in response to complaints. We'll get complaints from neighbors who say they shouldn't be allowed to have that. The code isn't exactly helpful to us in that regard, so we're just updating the code to address the desires of the community to limit commercial vehicle parking in residential areas.
What if two people in the same family have home occupations? They each get a car in their driveway with a name on the side?
Single one. You have a magnet on one and not on the other.
But it's
according to this.
used in conjunction with a home occupation, but it's two. I mean,
So the point of this was a single
Okay.
vehicle.
that's what I thought, but okay. All right.
So someone can't you're saying someone can't get their car wrapped or anything like that and leave it on their driveway?
If it
For a
was-
business
If it
or
was like,
for-
yeah, that would be, a vehicle as a sign.
Okay.
Andrew, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So you say in the packet, there's complaints and inquiries about it. So I guess my question is based on what's the effective date of this? And so what if someone says, well, under the previous definition, I was okay, now,
Yeah,
what's
that's
the
a-
practical plan?
That's a
for
good
that?
question. So for something like that, commercial vehicle parking, we would probably notify them. Our code enforcement tends to be educational first anyway. So I would not say that there's,
So they'd get
This
a
is-
warning at first.
absolutely. And this is something that does come up from time to time. It's usually not in the gray area. It's usually snow plows, things like that. So our code as it is right now isn't helpful enough even on snow plows. So I think just tightening this up a little bit will be very helpful to our enforcement staff.
Thank you.
Okay, that was commercial. The next one relates to RV parking and storage. So what I did for this one is, there's a lot of red. It starts on 21 and goes to 22 and 23. Rather than try to change every single one, I did a rewrite of this section. So that's why it looks like a ton of red. So I tried to simplify it. We do get complaints from time to time. We'll have people who construct parking pads in their backyard with no method of getting the vehicle out, which isn't really the intent. So it's a vehicle. It's supposed to be movable. We're trying to get them out of the backyard. There's already restrictions in the front driveway for cleaning, preparing for a trip, unpacking, packing, that sort of thing. So there's a limited amount of time already in the front driveway. So if you're going to have a pad, a parking pad, it would start from the front of the house back, but not behind the house. So it still have to have easy access out. So if you're putting it behind a gate, the gate has to be able to open and the intent is it has to move. The other key piece to this is that we have a lot of lots that are not, acre lots. So by requiring the parking pad to meet the setback of the principal building, you're effectively treating a large RV like an extension of the building, so that it can't be directly next to somebody else's property. So it just gives a little bit more breathing room. It essentially ensures that you wouldn't have one right on somebody else's property line.
So doesn't it essentially prohibit anything on the sides then?
It would prohibit it.
Those lots?
You'd have to have a large enough lot to be able to meet this.
Okay.
But there's a truck parking lot in town. You could rent a spot. All right, so that is that one.
19.
Everything you've incorporated the things you've deleted as well, right?
Yeah, so that was, again, this is a sort of a wholesale rewrite of that section rather than trying to rewrite each subsection there. Clear restrictions related to outdoor parking. There's some confusion about whether or not you can put a fabric car cover in your driveway. These things are already prohibited elsewhere in the code. This is just bringing it into the section of the zoning code that deals with off-street parking in residential districts, just putting it where it's easier to find, easier to cite, not a convoluted building code reference. So related to this, we also have fitted car covers versus tarps is a question that we get. You do have people who like to cover their car in bad weather. In this, it would just be limited to a certain amount of time. We've had some that have been disabled vehicles that are permanently covered. And then the tarp disintegrates and you can see that it's a disabled vehicle under it. So that is another one that's in response to repetitive complaints. Any questions on that one? So then moving on to 19.8, let me find the page for you on that one.
87.
87, thank you. So the first part of this is clearly prohibiting parking on grass and gravel. That is prohibited in the code already. It's just another one of those it's harder to find and therefore harder for us to enforce. So that's that one. The next one.
So this exists already?
Yeah, you cannot park in grass as it is. For us to be able to cite somebody for that is a little difficult in the code right now. So this is just reiterating it in a spot where we can say, this is the section. Okay?
And these were all, what was exactly published?
So I published it the way that you see, let's see, a petition filed by the Village of Vernon Hills, amendments to the zoning code related to various sections to address the following. So then I've got the list.
And RVs are specifically spelled out in on
So
grass
it says
parking?
parking in vehicle storage in residential districts. For that one.
I have a question about the gravel. There's a lot of higher-end residences that use it's called a chip and seal.
Mhm.
It's an asphalt with a decorative gravel kind of rolled into it.
Mhm.
Would that be,
As long as it's stable, if its appearance and then the aggregate is actually stable, I think that would meet.
you could have a decorative gravel surface,
I
just
think
not a...
if it's loose and can get off the driveway and into the storm
This
sewer.
is sort of why I was asking about Ernie's,
Mhm.
because it is pretty well chewed up back
Yeah,
there.
it is chewed up.
So someone would be allowed, but they would probably need a permit anyway to do a driveway?
They need a permit to do a driveway. We would review that.
clarify.
If they were proposing something that didn't clearly meet the code, we would have to review it and make sure that it's a stable material. It's not going to leave the property, get into the grass, get into the storm sewer. The 19.8, we were on to, let's see, where's that one actually located?
19.8?
Is it in general
Page
19.8?
87?
It says general, and then
Okay, I think I covered that. The driveway width exception,
Well, before you go there.
yeah, sorry.
that's the one I wrote.
Okay, go ahead.
So D says restrict parking to driveways, so apron parking, yard parking, etc. So on Deer Path, there are a lot of vehicles parked on the apron, parallel to the street. So that is not allowed?
So that, and I can go back and try to find it. We've had a couple of residents that have worked with the police and basically said, keep it fully on the apron, don't block the sidewalk. We understand that you have limited access to on-street parking. We're not saying it's okay. We're just saying we'll enforce it. We'll enforce these things. We understand that you have a difficult situation, and so we will enforce blocking the sidewalk, parking in the grass, that sort of thing. I could find that. There's a lot of back and forth coming to that point. It wasn't necessarily permission. It was more, we understand why you're doing what you're doing. This is too far. Don't do that.
But you'll never be allowed to block the sidewalk.
Yeah, exactly. So they're basically saying, look, we get it. can't put your car anywhere.
Can't you like though during certain hours of the day, but not others or something?
Yeah, there's
some
an overnight,
quirk,
yeah, there is a quirk to it.
Okay. 19.8.8, I should have mentioned this before. This is my favorite complaint. Okay, first off, why do we make it shorter, not longer with the way vehicles are going? And secondly, I'll express my concern still about the 9 feet width.
So this is, you have been heard, and I do understand.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do here is consistency. We've got the development ordinance, the zoning code. We've got other places where parking stalls are referenced. I'm trying to get consistency across them. It's also, the 9 by 18.5 is also a pretty universal standard outside of the village. Almost every single parking lot is built at 9 by 18.5.
Oh, I know, yeah. So should I just as a protest say no to all this?
You can do with
we
your
pull that
vote
out?
as you please.
Separate.
We could, but, okay, what's next?
All right. Let's see, the driveway width.
Yeah.
So we have, there's a variety of neighborhoods that have larger lots. We have a restriction on driveway width that is independent of your lot size. We have, just due to where our new single-family homes are being built, this is a question that comes up more often right now. A 100-foot lot, we allow them to pave, 3 or 4 car garage. They still have a 20-foot driveway, and they have to balloon out after that. So we get a lot of requests for this. No one has taken it so far as to actually ask for a variance. A few of them have poured it anyway when the house is done. So rather than encourage people to do it on their own, what I would suggest is have some sort of relationship between the width of the lot and the width of the driveway at the property line. But the one thing I do want to be careful about is how you get to the full width of the driveway. So if the full width of the driveway is going to hit like a side-loaded 3-car garage, that's a big maneuvering area. Let's not have that too close to the front property line. So that's the way that this is worded, is to require it to open gradually to the full width. And again, it has a cap on it. I lost my page already. There's a cap on it, 87, was it?
85?
85, thank you.
No, that was still an 85.
Yeah.
So basically to a maximum of 28. So it still couldn't exceed 28 at the property line. Any questions on that one? Okey-dokey. Miscellaneous definitions. So we have just a few definitions in the section 3.2, which is the beginning. Some of these are business types that do not exist. We've had a cigar lounge go through concept review with the board after we were contemplating this. So this is a definition that our code currently lacks. So that, and then adding that same definition into the B1 district. The hotel motel definitions are missing certain types of distinct hotels. Extended stays operate differently than other hotels, so just making sure that the definitions keep up with what we've got. A few years ago, we added short-term rentals to address Airbnb, so this is sort of the same thing. Anything on that?
Yeah, you added vape shops and tobacco.
Oh, yeah, so there were vape shops, tobacco, hookah, there were a handful that are not.
That's 58. But, no, I just lied, that's not. 58 is where it's shown as a permitted use, and my question to Andrew before the meeting was, should tobacco, vape shops, and hookahs be special uses?
So right now, I've got it's a split. There are special uses. So the hookah lounge and the cigar lounge, this would be the where you actually have seating and whatnot.
Yeah.
Those would come in as a special use. That's where you actually have on-site smoking. It has to meet the clean air, smoke-free Illinois. and you'd want to just see how it's designed, what's next to it, special use for those. The others, tobacco vape shops, so these are, what this references to subject to Chapter 10. Chapter 10 is our business licensing regulations, and what we are looking at having just recently prohibited THC-derived products, hemp-derived THC, which is a loophole in the federal legislation. So we had found that we have about 9 businesses in town that, even though we prohibit recreational cannabis, we have about 9 businesses in town that were selling THC that's derived from industrial hemp, including packaging that looks like candy, things like that. So what we're suggesting with that was we've just prohibited that, and the mechanism of enforcement would be, I think, a licensing, a fine, revocation of that. It's a distinct license. You have to have a tobacco vape license. So I think there's, outside of the zoning, there's a mechanism where we've got teeth. We can certainly restrict the number of licenses issued. So that would be my suggestion, to keep those as permitted use, but have that hook.
So do we license cigarette?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
So Walgreens would have one?
They have a license. Yeah. Yep, and failure to abide by the terms of that license can result in you being penalized under the business license section. Any other question on that one?
Does anybody other than me think it should be a special use?
The store itself?
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea.
I agree.
Me?
Deal with the existing ones as under the license in
Right, under
future.
license, right, yeah. So we just move it out of 13.2.2.53.
It is 13, it would go from 13.2 to 13.3.
Right, yeah, okay. All right.
Okay.
All right, next.
So the procedural, number 4, that's going to be section 20.
28.3, that's way in the back.
So we have, just as a unique aspect of the zoning in Vernon Hills, we have regional plan use developments that supersede the standard language of the zoning code. And this would just be putting into our code an interpretation of how to manage the conflicts between them. Is what we do in practice, but just, I think it's always a good idea to put into the code what you do in practice if it's not clear. Any questions on that one? Administrative variance, 2159 is page 114. So this is something that we actually, believe it or not, have been talking about for a couple of years. It is something that other towns do have. We do not have this provision in our code, so any deviation from the strict letter of the code requires a full public hearing for a variance. So what this would do is, in my opinion, I think right now, just the procedural hurdle of going through a public hearing process for a minor variation is discouraging people from improving their homes. These are typically existing homes, smaller lots, the 6,500 foot lots like the one we saw tonight. There's just not much wiggle room to do any improvement without triggering a variance, and we have people walk away from them pretty regularly just because they don't want to go through it. So I think within a really small tolerance, having some ability to review a variance, look at the character of the area, basically handle it administratively. So I'm flexible on exactly how.
So could they have gone through the?
I'd have to look at their 10%. It might depend on what their loft is counted as.
Right. How did you come up with the 10%?
Just as a number that's relatively close to the original code.
Plus the math's easy.
Math is not my forte.
Andrew, would staff still, in those cases, use the standards for variation, or?
I think what we would do is we'd still document it by sending it to the board.
Okay.
And so it would get documented. We say it's been granted this administrative variance. And I think that'd probably be a good idea to just note that the recommendation of staff would be forwarded to the village board so that they would get some document so that it's clear that the variance has been granted. And so I think actually putting that in here would be a good idea, looking at it now.
I guess my concern is that before we have this public hearing, it didn't look like this particular addition needed a variance under that standard.
Well, I think what we would have done in that case is go through all of the different sections of the code to make sure that we had the number right. So we would have involved the inspectors to check building code definition of FAR, our definition of the zoning code of FAR, see if there's any discrepancy. It would have been a full plan review, not just here's the base calculation.
Mm-hmm. And is that what you're going to do now with this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the drawing board with the inspectors and look at not just the zoning code, but the building code. Essentially what it does is it removes the burden of the public hearing. They could proceed, the recommendation of the staff would go, and I would say, looking at this now, that should be written in here, that the recommendation for the administrative variance would go to the board.
Would it still be posted on the property?
I don't think so. I think that that's part of the burden is having to display to everybody. But again, it's the 10%. I think it's the point is that it's supposed to be relatively
minimal.
minor.
Yeah. Okay.
Lighting. This is one that we have, just a quick background on. We do get complaints pretty regularly. We don't really have clarity in our code for a couple of different things. So this is addressing, we get complaints of temporary lighting. We don't, other than the electric code right now, we don't have a really easy way to sort out lighting displays that have been out for too long. And citing somebody off an electrical code violation, I think, isn't as good as the nuisance section. So I would pair.
Isn't there a 90-day limitation?
It is in the electrical code, and it is a little bit unusual to cite somebody out of the electrical code. And the loophole of that is that we're now getting systems that are designed for permanent outdoor display.
Right.
So the electrical code's not going to help us for that one.
So how do those apply to this?
So what, sorry, I need to find my page on this
Page
one.
39.
Thank you. I think I should have written the page number instead of the section numbers on here. So I got a purpose statement, just basically explaining why we're doing what we're doing. Lighting in public areas. So we have in our public hearings, from time to time, there will be a question of, well, do they have to have the lights on at night for safety? This addresses that question across the board instead of case by case. So the minimum light requirements of the development ordinance would apply when the building's open to the public, and then they could have a consideration for minimum safety lighting, and that way we wouldn't have to review it every single time there's a special use. Temporary lighting displays, that's the one that references the electrical code. May not flash, strobe, change color, include other features that would be considered a nuisance visible from adjacent properties. There is a nuisance section of the code, chapter 13, not in the zoning code, in the village code. So what I would do with this is just make sure that these two are paired up. That one
So
doesn't
where it
require.
says UL listed for permanent use,
Those are the
you're
installed
talking about a
ones.
temporary display.
So if the equipment itself is
Made for permanent.
made for permanence, how do we deal with it. Well, it can't flash, it can't strobe. It's difficult for me to enforce. They're being installed on houses now permanently. So removing strobe feature, making sure that it doesn't have anything else that would be considered a nuisance.
So,
if they have if someone has one of these LED kind of strips under the gutters and they use it just for regular illumination, and then occasionally throughout the year, they put it on, party mode or whatever, that's okay because it's 1 day or 2 days. They just can't do it for 90 days straight? Or?
Yeah, so I'm open to suggestions on how to word this. The idea is, number one, have something clear to say that something that is only designed for temporary use actually has to come down.
You're talking about holiday lighting.
Correct.
but temporary holiday lighting can flash, strobe, and change color. But if you have permanent holiday lighting, it can't.
Is that right?
Is that
So
right?
they're allowed to have permanent holiday lighting, like across the street from my house.
Haven't you?
Well,
some
not if
of
it
our
changes
houses
color.
have 'em now.
Not if it's,
They changed the light color for the different holidays. Now they're red right now for Valentine's Day.
If it's a Bears game, they're orange and blue.
we're thinking about buying it. No, I shouldn't. You're telling me?
Several on my block.
Again, open to suggestion on this. We do get complaints without any great enforcement mechanism. I think as it is right now, what's in the nuisance section of the code is your typical, you can't have lights above a certain height, it's 15 feet, you can't have like a floodlight above 15 feet that's gonna shine in your neighbor's property. They need to be directed down. So there's a short list of things in the nuisance section. I'm trying to supplement that here.
So the permanent lighting that was referenced, if you install it on your house and it goes on the gutters or the eaves or something, that's permitted. But you can't
Can't have a flash or
You
a
can't have
strobe.
it flash, strobe, or change color.
Oh,
Is
they
that
do
right?
change color.
And they do change color. And the display, so you could keep it, red for Valentine's Day for 90 days, but then you'd have to change it to green for St. Patrick's Day for 90 days. And then, is that how?
Yeah, I think what we need to do is split this out into two sections. Temporary display, and permanent display.
Okay. But I'm saying temporary displays, you also don't want to flash, strobe, et cetera. But change color seems pretty typical for holiday lighting.
I think for this one, what I would do is temporary decorative lighting, as 4.7.17.3, and then other lighting displays, something that's, if they're designed for permanent use, here's the restrictions, just to not muddy. I'm mixing temporary
Permanently affixed or some sort.
So what are the restrictions on permanently affixed?
For permanently affixed, I would say the flashing, the strobe. And then just overall glare,
So we're
brightness.
eliminating color change.
It's like the one down the street from where I live, at the holidays, it was red and green, and they would alternate colors on and off. That you couldn't do?
Perhaps a permanently installed display.
It is permanent.
Can be utilized.
For maximum,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
Have a time limit, just like the temporary
Yeah.
displays.
Yeah, that makes sense.
okay. I can try to wordsmith that, and then this is one that I may need to see what some other towns are doing too. And, you get into some First Amendment issues if you go too far, so I'm
And
run
we
by
don't
our
have a dark
attorneys.
sky ordinance, do we?
We don't.
I was just going to ask
What
that.
ordinance?
Dark sky. I was just going to ask
So you
about
don't
that.
have lights essentially that go up, basically. That's
Light-
oversimplified.
light pollution.
Light pollution?
Yeah, it's bad for migratory birds and a lot of other reasons.
Somebody does that?
A lot of places
A lot of
do.
places do it.
There's a lot of landscape lighting that shines up into trees, up in,
It's really big like in the southwest, where it's like really dark, at night.
That's why I have my thing on.
I think
Oh,
this
okay.
needs massaging.
Okay, I agree.
Okay.
I will, I'll work on the massage. What I'd like to do, I think I've got some ideas of massaging from the group. if this is the only thing that really needs massaging, what I would probably ask
I'm
is.
just seeing more of,
just have- yeah, just-
more of those permanent lights
Yeah.
on structures.
What I would request is, if that's the only issue, allow us to massage it before we talk to the board about it.
Yeah.
Is there, as these things evolve, could they get brighter and brighter, and do we need some sort of brightness?
Yeah, I can, let me look, let me see what we got, see what, maybe not reinvent the wheel, and I can copy from somebody else.
Well, I don't know, does our code say that residential lighting at the property line is the same as the commercial lighting?
So right now, there's some holes in the code. So we've got specific standards for minimum lighting in commercial, but,
Yeah.
and we've got some nuisance lighting in residential. We don't have anything that addresses the commercial versus residential. So that's this next one, commercial exterior lighting.
Right.
So not spilling over onto another property.
But that hasn't been in our code?
The development ordinances talk about,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
So that is the point of that next one, is just make sure that there's a maximum light limit at the property line.
Matter of fact, I had them change one over at the mobile station.
All right, there you go.
Well, that exceeded the maximum light already, and it was directed up. The next one down, commercial storefront lighting, is just a
Question on that
Yeah.
one. So there are a couple of businesses that we've talked about previously that have the perimeter window lighting and things like that. So is this, to my knowledge, it's never been permitted.
Right.
Is this going to say that they have to take, is this
It's
going to?
That one's a little bit of a whack-a-mole. We get them taken down in one place, and they pop up next door.
Yeah.
And they say, well, he had it. I said, well, he did last week. So yeah, the point of this one is it's something that's in the sign code. The sign code prohibits you from doing perimeter in a really convoluted way, where that it counts as signage, and it's considered by the sign code to be 100% covered if you have a perimeter light. That, to me, is a little bit too convoluted, so I want to just say prohibited.
What about?
Outlining the windows and lights?
Outlining the windows.
What if
and
it's part of a holiday display?
What?
I suppose you could do that.
Do businesses get notified
house?
when there's new code and everything? Like,
So-
so they know, like,
We would notify them on the violation, basically. For a lot of these things, they are a violation already. It's just where that violation is and how it's written that's the problem.
what about like in windows when you see like flashing tobacco?
That is not permitted.
Oh,
Already not permitted.
What about when you have words like
Movement is not
scroll-
permitted.
scrolling?
Yeah, movement is not permitted.
We have that too, in that same
yeah.
building.
Yeah, so, yeah, just, we have a little button on the website,
Yeah.
the little yellow button, you hit the yellow button and put the address in.
But like I told you, if it had been a special use, we could have picked this up right now.
No, they wouldn't have admitted they
They
had
wouldn't,
it.
right, that's right. All right, I think that's it.
I think that
Yeah,
is, I think that covered everything.
All right, so you're going to pull out the lighting.
So what I'd like to do with the lighting
Yeah.
is research it. I'd like to keep the whole thing moving. If I get something, I totally understand what you're saying. When I read it back too, I get that this is confusing. So what I'd like to do is just continue to do some research. By the time it gets to the board, if I don't have any good idea, I would just ask the board to drop that for now. I'd like to have the possibility of keeping this all
So
together.
what we can do is we can do a motion to approve the suggested text amendments, subject to additional staff review of the lighting ones, or permanent and temporary lighting, per the comments.
So my conditions right now are the splitting of the temporary and permanent lighting, and research other options for
Right.
how to word
Right.
that. Our first one was tobacco and vape would
use.
move as a special use. I have a correction that was noted.
Right.
In the parking,
Yeah, it was in,
the commercial vehicle parking.
yeah, it's on page 20,
So that was a commercial vehicle parking correction.
47314.
Then I had the administrative variance, just clarify that that does still produce a ordinance, a variation ordinance that goes to the board. And then 4 is the lighting.
Lighting.
With additional research prior to bringing it to the board.
I have a question on page 18.
Okay.
Could you explain the change you're making on 4.6.8.2?
So as it is right now, if you follow the definitions of what is a required, what is a rear yard, and what is a required rear yard, they're different things. So what we're saying here is that the reference is to the rear yard and not the required rear yard. The required rear yard is a smaller area, so it would effectively mean that you could cover the lot. It's counterintuitive. So you could cover the lot with a house, but not a patio. So if it's an impervious surface issue that we're talking about, it's all the grass area. What's the coverage of the grass area?
Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, and that's what we're getting at. Is it in your?
And you think that says it better?
So as measured from the principal structure to the rear lot line, yes, that's clearer than trying to figure out if it's the required rear yard or the rear yard.
Well,
So
that
to
to
us,
me sounds like it's from the end of the house.
Correct.
Not the patio.
So it's from the house to the rear.
And that's
you can
what you're
cover.
trying to say?
Yes, you
Okay.
can cover.
All right, I
40
thought you said the other way around.
You can cover no more than 40% of that.
The patio's part of that 40%.
Yep. Patio, sheds.
Right, all that stuff.
Everything.
If the rear of your house has multiple,
It's the farthest one now.
it's the furthest back, okay.
All right. Okay, so we have a motion to recommend approval of the text amendments subject to the, what is it?
4, yes.
The 4 conditions that were just expressed. We need a second for that.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. My only comment is I'd still like to see the parking spaces changed, but I'm tilting at windmills. Okay, so we need
I would have the same comments. I think our parking spots are much too small in Vernon Hills.
Yeah.
And
I'm
Is this-
guessing that's because there's a lack of parking in Vernon Hills, so that if they made them bigger, there would be even less parking.
Well, except for the airport we have over on some of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Does this give us the ability to change that moving forward?
Would you like, I mean, you can,
Require larger spaces?
if you would like to recommend that to the board, you can.
Because I agree 100% with your, thoughts on the fact that vehicles are only getting bigger and.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we vote on this subject to the conditions, then we can do a second, I guess it's like a straw poll vote or an advisory vote to the board if we want to suggest something on parking.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So this one, do we get a second? Okay, Jerry did. Okay, so we need a roll call.
All right, so that is, as just discussed, no additional changes after the motion was made and seconded.
Right. Just the
Okay.
conditions you already noted.
Correct.
Right.
Commissioner Cotton.
Yes.
Commissioner Funo.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Nabbit.
Yes.
And Chairman Morris.
Yes. Okay. And then we're going to do, it would be a motion for an advisory recommendation to the board to have staff examine what is it?
The dimension of
The
the parking
dimensions,
stall.
there's a
Yeah. There's
code
two, there's
section,
a
which-
definition and then there's a
Yeah.
code section.
Yeah, the
I think
definition.
you want
of-
to throw in there, given the size of
Right.
current vehicles.
Right, given the size of current vehicles,
And general preference to not be dinged by them.
right, yeah, yeah. To have a more efficient and utilization of parking spaces by, cars. Right,
I would love to second that.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, you need a roll call on that?
Yes, Commissioner Cotton?
Yes.
Commissioner Funo?
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Nabbit?
Yes.
And Chairman Morris.
Sure. Yes, your vote, yes, no. Okay, all right, do we have any development review this evening?
Just a quick note on the minutes, they're not 100% done, which is
Yep.
why you did not have
Right.
them. I will put them on the next meeting, whenever that may be.
Okay.
And development review, it hasn't been that long since we met, so I have a very short one. I happen to be going by Raising Cane's today, and it is taking shape. So on the right there,
Projected to open?
they have said July, I'm telling people August.
Seem to be moving along real quick
enough.
right now.
What about Guzman and Gomez?
Guzman and Gomez is pulled out. Their corporate have elected to not move ahead with that site. They found the construction cost of that particular site, topography, et cetera, to be too high for any individual location. So the people who are in front of us are looking elsewhere, and they may try again. I've offered to help them find anything and work with them on it, so. Construction of the others is moving ahead. I just happen to have a picture of Raising Cane's and put it in. I do not have a hearing to publish for March 11th right now. I was holding that in case we had to continue anything tonight. So at the moment, there is no new date. Thank you all for responding to the poll. And that's it for me.
I have a question.
Sure.
The breakfast place between Perry's and Yard House.
That doesn't exist, you want?
Wasn't that supposed to be a First Watch?
Yeah. It was supposed to be the First Watch. They couldn't come to terms on the lease with First Watch after several attempts. They are viewing that as most likely not moving forward, and they're talking to other tenants.
What's happening at Route 45 in Portland? What's going on?
That is, it's a very exciting underground project. There's a company that is in the South Lake Industrial Center that the thing that they make is, the GLP-1 injector. So they make those. It requires a massive amount of electricity. That building does not have it. So ComEd's contractor is connecting, I want to say 6 miles of cable to supply power to that building. And the section going underneath Port Clinton and 45 is just complicated. It's a difficult, there's a lot of stuff there.
Do we have anything for data centers or anything?
We don't. We don't really one way or the other. I think in light of this news that particular business required a $11.5 million project. It seems unlikely, but yeah.
And nothing with the old American Hotel site?
They are in technical review. It came in today for technical review. It is it's comparable, close enough to what the village board saw at concept review. In concept review back in, I want to say November of '24, they presented a multi-building, they call it the Vernon Hills Industrial Park, or the VHIP. That multi-building project, they wanted, even though it was mostly speculative, or it was speculative, they didn't want to go too far without having an end user identified. So they have an end user identified who's going to do the largest building in that concept plan. And so they're in technical review for the engineering now. Accelerated, they hope.
More like warehouse loading dock type?
It's like warehouse loading dock, correct, yeah.
Aren't there 10 million of those up right now?
This particular one, the one that's being built to suit is large. Not something you can find in a single building. Largest building, but by first floor footprint in town.
Isn't going to have the same problem that we looked before when they were talking about developing there with the truck traffic on 21?
It's not the total square footage, and it's not the same type of in and out.
Right. And what, so
Is
far?
there anything in that? There is an existing warehouse that they left there,
Yeah,
right?
there's no, right now, I don't believe there's anybody in it. There had been remnants of American Hotel and one of their tenants for a while, but not for the long.
So Farmer's Best is the one that's the one going in over by Sam's Club?
So they own that shopping center now, and they are developing the main unit for themselves. That's going to the board. They are revised. They had sent a facade change to the board. They've modified it, so they're going back to the board with a minor facade change.
And then where's Mendocino Farms?
Mendocino Farms is where Slice was.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's the sandwich or something? And then Kitty Academy Country. Nest. Which was Nest?
Nest was the
Old State Farm ambulance building.
Was that the child care? Was that the child care one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't even remember what the business was.
Yeah, no, okay, I just remember it was Nest, okay. And isn't the Mall Drive shift already happened?
It is done. That pile of dirt and asphalt grindings in the front is really what's left of that project. So we're working with them to regrade that.
Got it. Okay.
How is Dave and Buster's doing with all the?
I haven't heard it. I mean, their access is still open. They've got signage pointing toward it. I haven't heard any issues.
Okay, all right, anything else, anybody? All right, now we have a motion to adjourn, we need a second.
Second.
All in favor of that one?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We're adjourned, good night.
I have a non-burden question.
Okay.
Any